We have Weiwei here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, hello again, everyone. I just want to say that the Fine Arts Work Center is deeply grateful to our terrific trustee, Christoph Mao, and his terrific team at Chambers Fine Art in New York City for enabling us to host Ai Weiwei during our anniversary year. Thanks also to the Provincetown Film Society and the Water's Edge Cinema for providing this terrific screening space for tonight's screening. Now, you all know that Ai Weiwei is an activist, architect, curator, and filmmaker whose work is deeply rooted in political urgency and contemporary relevance. As you've just seen, Human Flow powerfully documents the staggering scale of the refugee crisis and its profound personal impact. Over the course of 1 year in 23 countries, Ai Weiwei followed a chain of urgent human stories that stretched across the globe, including Afghanistan, France, Greece, Germany, and Iraq. We're so pleased to have him here with us to share his personal reflections on this journey. I also mentioned earlier that you can see more of Ai Weiwei's powerful work immediately following this conversation at the Fine Arts Work Center with the exhibition Rebar and Case, which is a sculptural meditation on the terrible and needlessly vast loss of life of school children and many others after the 2008 earthquake in Sichuan province, China, due to poor construction and shoddy infrastructure. I'm also happy to introduce Loren King, who's an arts and entertainment journalist, excuse me, whose features, interviews, and profiles appear regularly in the Boston Globe, Boston Spirit Magazine, Provincetown Banner, and other publications. She writes the regular film column Seen Here in the Boston Globe, and she's a longtime member and the past president of the Boston Society of Film Critics. Please welcome Ai Weiwei and Loren King.
This is really an honor, Ai Weiwei, to be here and to have all of you here. I know you all feel honored to meet Ai Weiwei as well. We don't have a lot of time, so I'll just get to the first question, which is, it seems to me that Human Flow is part of an ongoing art project for you, one project, or a lot of your recent art installations, Laundromat and the Good Fences project in New York, are all related to the refugee crisis. So how does it all gel together for you? Did you conceive of the film first? Did the film start to happen? Were you already working on a lot of the art projects before the film materialized? How did it all evolve for you?
Well, today is the 30-year anniversary I received my passport, so I can start traveling 3 years ago today. And before that, I was detained for activities I don't like that much. So at that time, I already paid attention to the refugee crisis. We sent our living members to Iraq, camp in Iraq. So once we had a chance to, it is really personal. It's always personal across all my works. Relate to political situation, or even just relate to certain skills, materials, or making. It's always that coming first. So I don't know how it started. My father was exiled when the year I was born, so maybe that has something to do with it. You know, we grew up in Xinjiang, which is a camp, some kind of camp for re-education. So he spent about 20 years in that situation, and I was just born, spent time. So maybe that kind of experience leading me to these kind of conditions. The people being discriminated or being sacrificed or pushed away from their home, and you know, we call it refugees or migrants. So today, you know, one number getting to 68.5 million people. So it's not it's the biggest number ever recorded in human history. So, you know, naturally, as an artist, I always pay attention to human condition and human rights. And once I had a chance to move out, to settle in Berlin, which is a nation always also very critically in dealing with the refugee situation. So give me a chance to visit camps and to go to the border area between Turkey and Greece. So personally, I start to experience the situation, and on the shore I made decision I have to make a film about it. Making film is a very natural act because I was studying film school a long time ago, but I never wanted to make a film. And made some documentary films in dealing with activism. We just put online in China. But this film, when I started making, the issue is so complicated because it's a global situation. You know, it's not just Syrian refugees. You realize it has something to do with the relocation in Turkey or in Lebanon, Jordan, or then we go to Africa, we go to Bangladesh. We also see global situation. You know, what is really going on, and what is history, what is other problems besides this kind of religious condition or regional conflicts of war. So then it's a journey for me to study, to understand the global politics. So that's how I started. And at the same time, I have another show, so I always put or to make works of what I really concerned. So that's how it all happened. But it's quite natural, and it's not really planned. You know, it's you know, I don't have so much strategic planning of my career. It always just happened that way.
This is just what you're focused on because it's
It's a
important
human
to-
rights issue, and it's
right.
and also it's about freedom of speech. You know, to give my own perspective of what's going on today.
When you started the film and you started in Greece, as you said, did you know that you were going to end up? You knew you had to travel and wanted to document it, but how did all that unfold? Because you went everywhere.
We have we always have a research team. It's very important for me to always do the research. We have a very strong research team, which we study the whole history of human civilization or development. You know, what is first refugee? What is first image appeared on the cliff or in the painting or anything related to refugee? So then you study Bible or Quran or whatever, you know, and literature, poetry. You see some poetry of quote, and so we understand this kind of migration and people in move or human flow is always related to human development. So
You mentioned the poetry. I was struck by that when I saw the film, because I know your father was a poet, and then you titled the artwork in New York "Good Fences," which is Frost's poem. Has poetry been a comfort to you, or is it an impetus for action? Or I just wondered about the relationship with poetry to the images we saw.
I think you know, when you're dealing with this kind of human tragic situation, there's always different views. Politicians have their own argument, but I rather to relate to literature or poetry. I think those are very clear human judgment, human emotions about those tragic. So for me, it's more trustful to say the writers of poetry about those conditions.
There were some scenes that you were in the film, and there were moments, and it's so important, but it's difficult to watch so much suffering. Were there moments in the film where you felt helpless in the face of such? I mean, you're bringing it to the world and showing us, but there were times that I felt with you, almost like I'm thinking of the scene where the woman is becoming sick and you just bring her some Kleenex, and I thought that was just a moving moment, but it was like, what else could you do?
It's true, and as an artist or filmmaker, once you step into this kind of tragic situation, the worst feeling is you're helpless. You cannot really help those people. You make a film, you leave, and they stay there, and you cannot really care. You get to know those people, the women or children, and you know that you can help them, basically. But you cannot. You're a documentary maker. You cannot really even give them money. You can let them take shower in your hotel, but you cannot. You may bring them to shopping a few pens or stuff, but you cannot build too close relations because you're a documentary maker. You just have to be very objectively to follow the tragic situation and this global situation. It's not just helping one person. It's so yeah. Most time you feel pretty bad.
Do people come up to you and say, I saw the film or I saw some of the art and I moved and I want to help or do something, but there is that almost a global feeling of helplessness? Do you find that people ask you what we might do?
Yeah, every time after the film, I did this kind of conversation maybe 100 times, and people immediately say, "What can I do?" Well, I always say, if you cannot do anything, then what do you expect those people to do? I mean, they lost everything. There's no protection, no rights, no any support, and even not have a language or whatever the support. So I think if you really want to do something, of course, there's a lot that you can do.
When I was reading about when you were detained in China several years ago, that one of the threats they said to you was that you'd be separated from your son, that you wouldn't see your son, which I'm sure you know what's going on here in the United States' policy at the border, the separation of families. It made me think of that. Is that a tactic that authorities use to hurt these people?
I think definitely it's trying to make them suffer and to make them, they know what's the weakest point for any human being is to destroy this kind of relationship between parents and their children. I think it's not only United States, also Europe. They have all kind of policies set up just trying to make those migrants suffer and to set up an example, to make it difficult. So it's already very difficult. Otherwise, why they leave their home? Nobody wants to leave their home. At their home, it doesn't matter how poor they are. Who wants to travel to Europe? I mean, it's dangerous and it's unknown future. And many of them tell me they rather die. Even they already in Europe. They said, I won't go back. I'd rather die. Because it's psychologically it's so painful. Stay in the camps for years. Nobody talked to them. Of course, they get food, but what's the future? How can they really give something to their children? It's almost like impossible.
you're living in Berlin now. Do you got your passport back though? Could you go back to China if you wanted to?
I have my passport. I'm a Chinese citizen. I'm very stubborn. I didn't change my nationality, so I think I can go back to China, but I may not have a chance to come out again. I'm a national treasure. They may keep me there.
Do you like it in Berlin? I mean, do you?
I don't like it in Berlin that much because I don't speak German. And also, yeah. So, but it's a nice place. It give me a lot of space. So if you don't speak the language, you can concentrate on your work and it's okay.
Have you found a community of artists?
I don't need community. I am community. I travel 150 destinations since it's 3 years. I've been everywhere. So.
And they are going to Los Angeles in the fall.
I'm going to Los Angeles and I'm going to Brazil and Mexico. We have several shows.
A lot of the shows also deal with a lot of the art.
Every of my show relate to my current activities. And we also still, at this moment, we are still shooting in Bangladesh, which is 900,000 refugees in this kind of area, the size of Central Park, and 900,000. And think about that. And we have 3 teams shooting at this moment. Police yesterday confiscated our drones because they said you cannot use drones in this camp. So, yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
And that footage will be used for another film?
We always do things first, then later come out, easy to come out as some kind of product. But we have to learn first. We have to get involved. We have to explore. Then come to a show or something is easiest thing to do. Because to go to those areas is really exhausting. You know, it's not just physically, emotionally. You know, you challenge so many things. You know, you have to. It's exhausting. But I really encourage people, young people especially, should go to see what really happening.
Okay. Well, I just need to ask if you're enjoying is this your first visit to Provincetown?
Yes, I enjoy it. You know, it's a very special place. Yeah.
For art, for everything.
Yeah, it's still, I think it is art community, and that's so important. It's so crucial, and it's also quite rare, you know, to see still people care about literature, poetry, art, film. What you can ask more, you know? Nice.
Then your show is at the Fine Arts
Yes.
Center.
So
Till
yeah,
the
public opening.
Actually, I see the show. It's very, very well orchestrated.
Oh, thank you for making it possible. So.